Did you guys like it?
It was nice, but the synchronization of the voice and that was awful.
Yeah,
But I watched the whole thing.
me too. Yeah, I think you can't catch everything by not being there. I think that's very true. And then it doesn't help if, something's not going well with the audio or the video. It's all the more reason to be there in person when it comes to Chicago. What I really appreciated was that it's a revival. It's a generation of spirit, and it's collecting a lot of people together to be a transformative experience. And you can't do that without music. And there was all kinds of music, and I think really the only way to experience it and to appreciate it is to be there. The song Every Praise that Hezekiah Walker composed and has brought together that we're all familiar with is almost in a sense ruined for me, because I heard it when 3,000 people were singing it in the same building in Madison Square Garden. And every time I listen to it, I'm honestly just comparing it to when I heard it in person, and it's almost never going to live up to it. Maybe 10,000 people will sing it one day, but I did really appreciate the music that was there. There were a lot of very respected, very accomplished singers, songwriters, artists, and choir members there, and it was really nice to have there. And if you noticed, Tungel was composed into a praise and worship song. It was in English, but it's still the same song, still the same heart behind it. And I saw the words on the screen, unity, and then it was just kind of in different styles and different colors. And then I started seeing the words of the song, "We'll give our lives for unity, come along unity." And I thought, well, that's clever, put it in the background. It's a unity revival, that was the theme for this one. And then they started singing it. They put a beat to it, they had drums with it, they had a choir. And I thought, that's amazing. Whoever composed this really did a good job. I loved hearing this holy traditional Korean song about unity having new life in a way that maybe an American audience will receive it. And the beauty of the words are still there. It's all the same words. If anything, it's just sung more, just with a few more repetitions. And I really liked hearing that. It was something that I just really connected to. And what True Mother talked about, I don't need to reiterate, because I'm sure you'll see reports or summaries, and some of you saw it, but she's so purposeful about everything that she said. It's incredible how much she prepares to give these messages, because the one that she gave, she was again talking about the only begotten daughter, about unity, but the order and then the way that she does it is so brilliant, in my opinion. She's not telling anyone who this person is, who I am, directly stating it, but she's leaving it out there for you to piece together. And if you really listen to everything that she's saying from start to finish, and you piece it together, the realization is within yourself. It's not someone telling you who this person is. It's this person was born in this year. This person was able to escape North Korea into South Korea in this year. There was a video that was about that. Okay, I'm starting to piece things together. But really the only conclusion is, True Mother's talking about true parents, and she's talking about herself and her husband. But the way that she frames it is so special, and it gets me to be listening, because she's not handing out answers. She's trying to connect to your original mind and to speak to that. And she's speaking to all kinds of people. I had the feeling that after going to the first Madison Square Garden rally that, these events aren't really for us. We're there to support, but the message kind of isn't really for us. It's for everyone who doesn't know True Mother or True Father, or doesn't know about the blessing. But there's still a lot of value to be there, and I think True Mother really understands how to address the audience. And then towards the end, I think Elder Perry, the number 2 brother for the Los Angeles Church of Refuge, he really was speaking to the spirit of what Peace Starts With Me is. And he was talking to everyone, and he was saying, with the spirit that you feel here, go out of this building and go change the environment around you. Let peace start with you and let it actualize in some way. and change your heart or change your family, change your surroundings. And he just really spoke to it. I don't know how to summarize it so well, but he just got really passionate about it. And he was really encouraging people that you have this spirit and you have this energy, and you have plenty of places to go apply it. You have all of the things around you. I think that's very dear to the people in Los Angeles. They are very wary of the difficulties of violence and of gang violence in their area. And so they see an outlet. But that's also true in very many other places. I think Las Vegas has a big area for homelessness that people could pour their hearts into and people could really benefit from receiving. And so I think the rallies are really going in the right direction. I'm really happy that they're happening. I'm very hopeful for the future ones. And I think our president is really explaining that well, that other people are asking about them. When are they coming to us? When are they coming in my city? I want them to happen. I want change to happen in my life, and I want change to happen around me. So the title I picked is The Midwest Nation. And I had a few experiences that are connected to our subregion. And recently, True Mother was talking, and I'm obviously relying on translation in the video I'm watching, but she was talking about the subregions, and there are 5 subregions in the US and Korea and Japan, and they're all kind of siblings to each other. And so I'm following the translations, but when I was listening and I was paying attention to True Mother, not the text, she was using the word guk, like chanil guk, and she was using that with subregions. And we've said it before that they're meant to be nations, that they're meant to be their own unique nations that have a heritage or have an identity and have ways that they reach people. But hearing True Mother specifically use that word, in my limiting understanding of Korean, I knew that she meant nation. Chanolguk is one heavenly nation, one united nation, or one heavenly kingdom, the kingdom of heaven on earth, however you want to take that. But that's how she was talking about subregions in Korea. And, our subregions in America aren't any different. They're nations. And this is our Midwest nation. We want to create a heavenly Midwest nation. And there were 2 events that I was organizing, the Level 2 Blessing Workshop we had in Chicago, and a young adult retreat that was just last weekend at Lake Michigan. And just to briefly speak about them, the Blessing Workshop, I feel, was the best quality that we've ever had for a Blessing Workshop. And I remember when I went through the Level 2 Blessing Workshop to Level 3, and I felt so prepared and so cared for and loved by the people organizing, and people like Aunt Debbie Gullery. And people would say, we want to make ourselves available to you. We want your blessings to succeed. We want your marriages and your future families to succeed. So if there's something you need, if you need someone to advise to you, to listen to you, to talk to you, we're here for you. And thinking about the Level 2 Blessing Workshop that I went to, they've just been constantly improving. The last Blessing Workshop that I went to when I was preparing as a candidate was in 2014. And this one now in 2019, 5 years later, I feel like it's leaps and bounds ahead. And what they were already starting with was already very good quality. And so I feel that aspect of our movement is really working. And I have a lot of hope, because the future of our movement is in families, is in blessings of younger people, very young people, older people, is new blessed families and new blessed lineages. And I have a lot of hope for that. I think it's going to work. And the content and the structure, the information that's shared in the blessing workshops, if you think about it, that could be what's the future of our education of our children. It's not just a weekend or a curriculum or a book. It's like your primary education. You go to school for 10th grade or for 11th grade, and you get this information and this education about the blessing and preparing for it. And we're really on a good track for that. We've been able to prepare it and kind of frame it in a way that people can experience in a certain way. We do it with workshops, or maybe with an online course if you're not there in person. But they can really have potential to be expanded, to be a real education experience, that a teacher is talking to you about, that you ask questions, that you get assignments, that you write essays about, and that you really dive into and understand and question and ask, what's the value of this? Why is the blessing different from marriage? What's the purpose of marriage? What's my role in the marriage as a husband or wife or as a future parent? The young adult retreat I mentioned was in Lake Michigan, and maybe it was cloudy, maybe it was colder than I was expecting. Maybe I got a lot of bug bites, but I really felt like it was a slice of heaven. The lightness that I felt, just the light weight of just being around people who I trust, people who I'm comfortable with, it's so freeing and so nice. And this is how you want your normal life to be. Whenever you meet anyone, for you to have no walls between you and them, and no concepts or apprehensions or reservations. And that's what I felt in that environment. We got to connect to nature, whatever it was for us, if it was cold, if it was hot, if it was cloudy. But it was beautiful. The environment was enriching. It was God's creation. And then it was also our brothers and sisters. And, we're connecting to God. We're praying together for our meals. We're sharing together with games, with stories by the campfire. Really, honestly, it was just heavenly. And I appreciated it so much to have that experience. I had no idea how it was going to turn out. I was helping to organize it. And we had an original goal for how many people we wanted to come, and the amount of people who were registering and signing up was about half of that. And I was thinking, okay, what's going to happen here? And I just decided that it's going to succeed. The quality of the people that will be there, the quality of the people that are organizing this retreat is too high for something other than something great to happen. And honestly, that's what I felt. That was my experience. And I wasn't stressed. I wasn't worried. I was so happy to connect and to build on relationships that I had, to spend time with my wife. It was a vacation for us. It was an enjoyable experience. And I really appreciated it. And things like the Blessing Workshop and this retreat, we're creating our identity now as a subregion in the Midwest. And it's open. It's an open book. It's a blank page for the moment. And we're just starting to get some entries into this of who we are, of who we want to become, and how do we want to connect to God? How do we do it here in Ohio? How do we do it in Indiana, in this area of America? So that's open. It's open to you and it's open to me. It's an opportunity to create. So the reading I picked was about the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. And somehow this story just came to my mind to talk about. And I wanted to know, I wanted to remind myself, what did God tell Joshua? Did he tell him everything? And when I was researching it, yes, he told him everything. And I tried to frame the verses of the reading so that you could see that. God lists who he wants there, where to go, where to be there, what time, what to do, and what to do on the seventh day, which was especially important. And on another note, while I was researching this, I also saw kind of what's the symbolism behind the walls. And I also wanted to talk about that too, because the symbolism is, I think, almost just as important as what the story is talking about, what happened there. And symbolically, it says that you can't build walls that can keep God out. Whatever walls you build up in your heart or in your life or in your world, none of them are tall enough or wide enough, thick enough, deep enough to keep God out of your life. God can find a way to break those walls down. And obviously some of that responsibility falls on you, and your personal relationship with God, but that's very reassuring and that's incredibly beautiful. That's the heart of God that will tear down any wall to get to you. So Joshua got all these instructions, and that's what I wanted to know about. How specific was God? Because, I could very easily imagine this. Joshua, get your people, get your tribe. You've made this covenant with me, and now march around the walls of Jericho. And that's it. That could very easily just be it. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know why, but you have instructions. But in this case, as I mentioned, Joshua did have instructions. And, thinking about it, that's kind of a blessing. He knew what he was doing. He knew when. He knew why. And that's reassuring. You have the whole picture and you understand what it is that you're doing and why. But that's not always the case. I'm sure many of you understand. You may be called to or asked to be at this place at this time, and that's it. You may be praying to God for answers, for questions, and answers to those questions. And you get something you're not expecting. You may get very little. You may not hear God's voice, and it's just your conscience, or I don't know, your spouse or your sibling or your child talks to you and says a sentence to you, and hold on. They said something, but was it just them talking? Was God just talking to me right now? I have to think about this. When Moses got instructions from God, he got it from a burning bush, and how terrifying that is to see a burning bush talking at you, a booming voice coming at you and talking to you. So there are many ways that God reaches out to us and speaks to us, but staying the course is what will get you to where you need to be. If God is telling you to be somewhere, to talk to someone, if that's where you're being led to, there's a reason behind it. And you can't reach that conclusion if you don't stay the course. Even if it doesn't make sense, even if you feel like a fool doing it, marching around the city 7 times with trumpets and priests, If Joshua didn't have all the instructions, he might have felt like a fool. What am I doing? I'm marching around in the morning with all these people around the city. What am I doing? He knew the walls would come down, so he had that reassurance. But we may have that feeling. What am I doing going in a parking lot blessing people? What am I doing forgiving this person one more time, who I've told time and time again that this gets under my skin? Why do you keep doing this to me? So staying the course is what I feel I have to remind myself, that if I have instructions, I do have to stay the course. That the conclusion is at the end of the path, but to reach it, there's a path. There's a journey. There's a process involved in getting there. And to make it happen, you got to stick to it. So there was one reading that I also wanted to share with you. I'll try and make it shorter so it's not too hard to hear and just listen to. But I keep on finding more and more things from these books. I'm on the second one now, True Mother's Anthology series. And I couldn't promote it more if someone paid me, because I'm serious that I just love these books so much. And if you don't have them, I recommend getting them. If you do have them, I don't need to tell you to read them. You spent the money to get them. They're sitting on your bookshelf calling out to you, so read them. So this is in the second book, and this is a speech from True Mother. At this crucial time, after World War II, God instructed my husband to bring a new message of truth to the Christians in Korea. Christian leaders, however, rejected the possibility that he, a humble young man, had been chosen to bring this new message. They could not believe that the Lord at his second coming would be born as a man on earth, any more than the people could believe it at the time of Jesus. If the Christian churches had united with my husband, the heavenly kingdom already would have been established on earth as well as in the spiritual realm. During the 7-year period from 1945 to 1952, which marked the end of World War II and of the New Testament age, the entire world could have united in accordance with the providence of God. The 2 years I want to reiterate are 1945 to the period of 1952, a 7-year period. That was 1945 was when True Mother was probably about 2 years old. True Father was already an adult at that time, but hearing that and thinking about that, True Parents got married in 1960, and True Mother just said that everything could have been finished at the end of World War II, that so much could have happened in this time, in this 7-year course, had people stayed the course when instructions or when an assignment was in front of them. That is baffling to me. True Father could have established something powerful that never could have been brought down. And once that happened and True Father had some legitimacy and authority that people responded to, he could have found a bride. The marriage supper of the Lamb could have been fulfilled and could have happened. And, a marriage with True Mother would have come after. We don't need to spend too much time thinking what could have been, what could have happened, but that's the importance of a 7-year course. I know many of you respond to that differently. Some of you have experienced a 7-year course, and it really meant something for you or prepared you for your life. And some of you haven't had a 7-year course, myself included. But that path and that journey, this is what really speaks to staying the course. In 2013, True Mother started another one. She said, in 2020, there are things I want to accomplish, and I want to do it with all of you. A 7-year course. And so that's what's ahead of us right now, is we're on a course, we're on a journey, we're on a path. And what we do matters. If how we reach that conclusion, how we reach the end, matters how we go along that path and how we stay the course. And so I kind of just wanted to wrap up with one thing. Some of you may have gotten an email from the president, from specifically his email, about the National Victory Fund is what it's called. It's a pledge, and we're trying to raise money for making these rallies work. And in the email, he describes it as, yes, it's a 25-minute video about donating or about supporting this cause. But honestly, it's not enough time to talk about it. And I respect our president. I really connect to a lot of what he talks about, so I wanted to take his word for it and believe him in that. And so I watched the whole thing, and he's absolutely right. It wasn't enough time to talk about the importance and the value and the spiritual aspect of everything that's happening. I can't tell you or force you or compel you to watch all of it, but if you need access to it, I'll gladly send it to you. If you watch it, it's really hard to not be stirred by him. I came away from the video understanding what the fund was, what the purpose of it, what the value of it was, and also the feeling to contribute to it. And I set up a monthly pledge right after. And this isn't just the money or we need the money, but this is connecting to the spirit of why we do what we do. What is it that we're doing? Because that is so important to understand, in my opinion. We can put our bodies and our places and our words somewhere where they're supposed to be, but if our spirit is being dragged or isn't leading that way, or isn't leading in our understanding of what True Mother is asking us, then we're not living in the fullest sense in that way. And I just appreciate getting a chance to hear from our president, Reverend Damien. He speaks so much to what True Mother wants, and his spirit really comes out that, he's being spiritually influenced when he's talking. If you give him enough time, his energy just keeps on going up and up and up, and it just speaks to me. I appreciate that, and I connect to that. So I'd encourage you to watch it if you can. We're trying to be in a place where we can be a true elder son nation. And Reverend Dunkley has been mentioning this a few times, but we've just started since 5 years ago to stop receiving money from Japan, the mother nation of all places. We are starting to become self-sufficient, which is really good. America is a blessed nation. It's a very prosperous nation, internally and externally. And we should be able to be self-sufficient. But the next step after being independent and self-sufficient is being able to give. Our brothers and sisters in other countries who didn't have true parents for as long as we did, or didn't have as much foundation, or spiritual foundation, or financial or external foundation as us, they could really use our help. And that's also what this fund would be to support, is to help us be an independent nation and a loving nation that can give and support other places and help them grow and develop. So, I didn't want to keep you here too long. It's very nice outside. That's my message to you for today, and I just want to conclude with a prayer. So please join me. Our dearest loving Heavenly Parent and true parents, True Mother has delivered her message in Las Vegas, and spirits have been riled up and people have been shaken up to be on a different course than they were when they first started. And that's happening in Las Vegas. But you care and you know about what's happening everywhere, about what's happening in the entire nation, about what's happening in the sub-region, what's happening in the state and every city and every family household. And so I pray that you can speak to us, that we can be able to listen and hear you as we prepare every day of our lives to develop ourselves, to understand where we are and where we need to go and where you're asking us to be and the people that you're asking us to be. There's more ahead of us now. There's always more. And it's more responsibility, but it's also more blessing for us. And we hope that it can be more blessing for other people too. We are so grateful to you, God, and we hope to praise you and honor you with all that we can do. We want to honor the God in our brothers and sisters. We want to love so eagerly that it can't be resisted. That people who feel love are magnetically drawn back to the source of love that is you. We are so grateful to you. We are humbled to have a community, to have life and love together. And we ask that you can be here with us now as we continue on this day and the days coming forward. We love you, God, and we hope to hear from you each and every day that we can. We thank you, and we offer and report all these things in the names of all blessed central families represented here. Aju. Amen. Thank you.